Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lakaya Show. Today, we're going to talk about folklores, myths, superstitions, and all things spooky about the state of Mississippi. I have my notebook here with my notes, so you'll probably hear me turn a page or two. And let's begin. The first one is called Witch Dance. It is located along the Natchez Trace in Mississippi. Witch Dance is said to once have been a place where witches met and Satan himself appeared to them. At that spot, witches would conduct rituals and ceremonies, and dancing was abundant. The old ones say that where the feet touched the ground of the witches while dancing, no grass would it grow back or ever grow. To this day, the ground looks like it's scorched and barren in spots, where the grass remains no more. Witch Dance, you can go visit it and see it on the trace. A lot of people camp around there. A lot of pagans in the area go there to, honor the spot. But that's Witch Dance. Now, we have another witch one. And this one's the Witch of Yazoo. In the 19th century in Yazoo, Mississippi, they say there lived a witch. She was supposedly caught luring fishermen on the Yazoo River onto shore to torture and kill them. The sheriff then chased the witch through the town and down through the swamps. While crossing the swamp, the witch got stuck in quicksand and drowned. But right before she died, it is said she cursed the town and would come back in 20 years and burn it down to the ground. Oddly enough, 20 years later to the day, a fire swept through Yazoo, destroying over 300 buildings. You see, they buried the witch in Glenwood Cemetery, surrounded by a chain-link fence. And when the fire broke out, they noticed that the chain-link fence had been broken, making a very weirdly suspicious act. The grave is still there to this day, and it is still surrounded by the chain-link fence. So if you go to Yazoo, Mississippi, go to Glenwood Cemetery, and you can actually see the grave of the witch with the chain-link fence around her grave, supposedly keeping her in, so she cannot curse the town no more, and no more fires will break out. Now, this third one, I know we've all heard of the legend, and that is the blues legend of Robert Johnson. Johnson was born in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. He had a great musical talent, but he wanted more for himself. It is said that one night at the crossroads in the Mississippi Delta, Johnson made a deal with the devil. He sold his very own soul to be a blues legend. Who knows if this is true or not, but granted that several of his songs are about the devil and or the supernatural. It makes one wonder if he really did sell his soul to the devil. Now, I know that they have him buried in the Delta, but believe it or not, there's actually two different places with two different tombstones for Robert Johnson because they're not exactly sure where he's buried. But his legend lives on today through Mississippi. There's not a lot of people that don't know about the legend of Robert Johnson supposedly selling his soul to the devil for immaculate talent. But Johnson did die at a pretty young age. So, did he sell his soul? Who knows? Now, this next one is strange in itself. It's called the Mercuritis disease. They say that one of the government's biggest cover-ups was that of Mercuritis disease in Mississippi. In the 1950s, this disease supposedly swept across the state. With everyone unsure of its origins, though, it sure did leave a lot of destruction in its wake. It was said to make men omit a certain odor from their body that then caused any female around them to become homicidal. It caused a lot of riots where it was said to have been swept under the rug. And just like that, Mercritus left as quickly as it came. Now that's a new one for me. I hadn't heard of Mercritus before. I had heard about the strange talk about another area where, the people started dancing. But the Mercritus thing, making women homicidal, I don't know. I would have hated to be a man back then in the 1950s. Now, this last one is called Miss Josephine. And this is my personal story. My personal encounter. There once was a lady from a small town named Josephine. Josephine became a local teacher and taught school all her life. She was known to be stern yet kind. She always did the same thing every day at the same time. One day, all the kids were sitting in their desk, waiting on old Miss Josephine to get up from hers to start the day. Well, she sat there and she sat there and she sat there, not moving. Finally, one of the students went up to Miss Josephine's desk and touched her on the shoulder. Well, Miss Josephine fell smooth out of her chair, stone cold dead. She had taught herself to death. After the funeral, some family cleaned out Miss Josephine's home, and they found a portrait of her and donated it to the school. They hung the picture above the blackboards on the wall. It hung there for many years, and each year, the different set of students would complain about the picture. Its eyes would move and watch you. It said that if Miss Josephine's spirit thought you were misbehaving, she would touch you. The tale of poor Miss Josephine is still being passed down class to class. When I was in 7th grade in junior high, the first day of school, we were told about Miss Josephine. And the picture itself was oddly creepy. It was a oil painting of her. And like I said, it hung up on the blackboards, above the blackboards, and the eyes literally, if you walked across the room, it looked like the eyes literally followed you straight across the room. And every year, the teacher of that class would have to tell her students about Miss Josephine because so many students were being touched on the shoulder or touched on the head or tapped on the hand, kind of like, hey, 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 pay attention. And there would be nobody there, and they would swear they were touched. So finally, the teacher started just telling us every year the new set of students would be told exactly about Miss Josephine. Now, I know a class after mine that they said Miss Josephine started being seen in the hallway outside of the classroom. She pretty much stayed in the classroom when I was in school. But the grade behind me said they started seeing apparitions of Miss Josephine in the hallway, and she's dressed in the attire that she had on in the picture. So do I think Miss Josephine still lurks around that school? Absolutely. I think she cared about her job so much that she's stuck there. Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed